Hello everybody, Dave here. For the next episode of Dave Gets Wood, where I have a table full of wood. And I'll show you can see all the pieces here. Well, where do we start? Okay, so we've got the one original bracket, which it's not broken, but it's not in great condition. It needs, it needs cleaning up. There is some damage to the wood. That's going to need cleaning up. Bit of a ball ache. Part of me is wondering whether I just replace this as well, but I know I did struggle when I was at my folks the last time. I struggled to find wood that was the same width. So I'm more likely going to have to keep this one. Regarding the 3 replacement pieces, every one of them is a little bit larger. As you can see, it's a few mil bigger. That was obviously done intentionally. So what I am going to have to do effectively, or not effectively, but what I am going to have to do is sort of clamp the original to one of the new pieces so that I can mark the drill holes, but also I would need to mark which end is the end to take off. Right, because I don't want to go taking off the wrong end, and there's no point taking a bit off each. So that is something that I am going to have to do. So I'm going to have to sort of mark them up to get those to fit properly, or to get the drill holes in the right places and get them to fit properly. So that's one task that we've got, but that's not for now. So let's pop those to one side. Okay, we've got the broken pieces that I mentioned, the brackets. I don't know which one goes with which, but yeah, every single one of them, literally, as soon as I unscrewed the main pieces, they just, then weren't connected in any way, shape or form. So these are pretty much all scrap. I can't even, there isn't even any point in trying to reconnect them to resize the new pieces. Also mentioned on a previous video that I had to dig out one of the screws, and that's the hole that I ended up having to fucking dig to get the fucking screw out. And just so you know, I wasn't full of crap. No screws, and that fucker's glued in. So yeah. Right, so these pieces I'm going to put into my beer can box of wood. Now, I have every intention of just binning that box of wood, but not yet. Because if on the off chance I need a piece, a slither, or whatever it may be, then at least I know I've got scraps I can use. Okay, we have our support pieces. Now, to be fair, from what I can remember, these aren't in too bad a shape. These just need a bit of a clean up, need stripping. I mean, on this one there's literally nothing it needs doing other than stripping and refinishing. This one's the same, so good condition. Now I may have to adjust where some of these screw holes are, but if that's the case, that would be a potential last minute thing. But anyway, so 2 of them are fine. This one, again, condition wise it's fine, just needs stripping. And again, similar with that one, just needs a clean up. This one, Okay, this one has what looks like damage, but it's damage that's been varnished. So I might try and carve that just so that it looks a hell of a lot fucking better. Also, I'm going to have to clean in there, strip all that out anyway, so I might as well carve the rest of the wood. I may just have to be careful of how it is connected together. So let's see if these are chipboard or... I think some of them are multiple panels potentially put together, but so like for example, these two faces are bits of trim around a bigger block. Bit odd. Right, so that one's got some work that needs doing on it, but we know we can do that. And this one, okay, so this has got a crack here, but also this big fucking crack here as well. Now that is on a hidden part, and it goes through to the screw hole. I may have to fill that, or at least glue the crack. If it was on a visible side, I would actually resin it with colour. There wouldn't be much point in putting resin in this crack though, because that'd be a lot of mixing of resin for one tiny little crack. And there's not much point doing resin there because you never fucking see it. So not loads to do on those, to be fair. Two pieces that need a little bit of work. And the rest, they just need stripping and refinishing. So let's pop those down there for the moment. Ow. Okay, this was the centre beam that went across the middle, and to be fair, it's in decent condition. A couple of nicks which we can sort out. That'd be yeah, that won't be difficult. Put a little carve on it maybe, and then strip it and refinish it. So no major, but a little bit of work to do there. Okay, onto the big support pieces. Let's have a look at overall condition. Okay, so not seeing any major splits, cracks, anything structurally to be concerned about. Oh, we've got a split. Okay, that's quite a deep one. And it's where there's a screw hole. Motherfucker. Right, okay, so may need to change. Would be that one. No, it can't be that one. Okay. That'd be a bit fucking awkward. I may be able to repair some of it, glue the rest, or carve some of it out and glue the rest. It'd be fine if it wasn't going through a screw hole. I'd just carve it out. But the big issue on these pieces is, if you'll be able to see it, let's just lean that up there for now. Okay, so in here where the wood was glued, there are fragments of wood in there which have to come out, and the same on this end. So all of this edge, the notch, needs cleaning out because the wood that's on there is from the wood that was in there. And if I'm going to be putting clean pieces of wood in, then I want it to be fitting on a clean surface, not on cracked split wood. Okay, so one split, one split, and clean up the ends on that one, and what we've got on the other one. Okay, so this has got the splits, the fractured wood in the notches again, which needs sorting out. There's a bit of a crack here. Doesn't look too bad though. Okay, that's not looking too bad. So actually structurally this one is looking better than the other one was. Yes, it's got one crack to deal with, but it is literally nothing. Yeah, I mean, could potentially, I was say there's nothing. There is a screw hole there, so it's possible that someone's put a screw in there that was a little too long, but we can deal with that anyway. But yeah, the ends, as I said, need cleaning up. So there's a bit of work to do on those, and then we're on to what I'm going to class as the most important piece, which is this fucker, which is broken and is now scrap. So yeah, just to show you there, obviously this was the bit, it wasn't even connected, wasn't, even though they'd put, it can't have been a, right. But if you've put glue in, if someone's put glue in this, right, and it's dried white, then that's the wrong fucking glue for this wood, in my opinion. It looks more like a coloured silicone sealant that dries hard. It might actually be a quick adhesive sealant rather than a glue. I put together a set of stairs, or fitted together all the wood pieces on a set of stairs with a quick drying strong adhesive. It's not a wood glue. It's a sort of a different class, but yeah, you can see the screw in there, screw hole in there as well. So even if I did repair it, it's got nothing to screw into. So yeah, shitty. So that is fucking scrap, which leaves me with this piece, which I will just get this out, which should match this piece identically. Not on a flat surface, but which it does, it's close enough. So yes, you're scrap, but this is the important piece, and this also has damage on it, which I'm going to have to check in a moment. Again, it needs its ends cleaning, so this is the really important part for me, not just for the table in general, but in cutting a new piece of wood, right? Because if I'm going to use this as a template, this needs to be perfectly sized. So where this has got a big chunk of fucking broken wood on the end, which isn't part of this piece, all that shit needs to come off. So I need those grooves clean. Now what I could do, I mean, I am kind of winging this a bit, and I've said before that when it comes to cutting angles, it's something I'm not that good at. I mean, I don't really intend on using a handsaw for cutting another piece of wood for this, but the tools that my dad has got aren't tools that I've used to make angle cuts like this before. So I suppose one way that I could do it is, again, my new piece of wood, again, make sure it's the right size and the right length, and then measure in and mark, basically measure, sampling, right, so I can measure in from the end to where the start of the cut begins, the angular cut. Then all I would need to know is how, what angle is that cut. Now, off the top of my head, I'm going to think it's 45 degrees because the pieces of wood that go into it, excuse me, are basically clean cut, slot straight in, and that cut, it's not 45 degrees, that's 90 degrees, that's a 90 degree cut. But we're not cutting in that way, are we? We're in an angle, so it's halved, so it's 45 degrees, I think. What I would then need to do, so basically mark from the end, right, how far for the first cut, how far for the second cut, both of those cuts at a 45 degree angle, and they should meet. Sounds simple. But, you see, this is where, yes, it sounds simple, but if you don't factor in the width of the blade you're going to cut with, you end up with cuts the wrong size. And that's where I have erred before, because I have measured, for example, that this is 3 centimeters from the end, mark it, get the blade onto it, but if the blade's say 3 mil wide and it isn't positioned perfectly, you could have up to a 3 mil gap, which is what you don't want, and then everything's out of size. So it does have to be specifically correct. You need to make sure that it's correct, but that's why it's handy in a way that I've got a template piece. Right, how is the rest of this piece? Well, there's some notches in here that could do with carving out, but there is also a split going from here all the way up to here at the moment, and actually it continues on in there, and it is all the way through. Okay, now I don't want to pull it apart, but I can see there's a bit of movement in there. Okay, I might need to do a repair on that. Okay, there's a couple of ways. I'm just thinking there's a couple of ways I could do repairs on that, really. I could try pulling it apart, getting glue in there, but I don't like the idea of it. I could just put screws in. That'd do it, but it'd look a bit rough. But what I could do is drill a hole. Okay, let's say we started here. Right, there's about 1/2 centimetre from the split to the top. So if I drill a hole just bigger than the width of the screw head, halfway through that 1/2 centimetre, and then do a pilot hole through the rest, and continue that process up here, then what I can do is I can deeply countersink the screws and then fill the holes with wooden dowels and have a hidden screw repair. which I think could look better than just having, I mean, if we had what, 3 or 4 repair holes here, I think that'd look better than 3 or 4 random screws. Okay, right, so what I need to try and do now though is I need to work out how I'm going to clean up these ends. Because they would seem to be stuck on quite well. But let's try something. Oh. Okay, now obviously I took the other pieces, I took all of the rest off using the hammer and the burger flipper, so it's possible that some of this will come off with this, like so. But it is also possible that I could cause more damage, so I've got to be careful. I think my original thought was to Dremel it off. It might not be a bad idea to go with that plan. Let's take the towel off. So I've been using that as a keeping wood clean scenario. Let's see what will be best for this, because we're into excuse me, territory that I've not really been in with it. I don't think a cutting disc is the right way to go. I don't want to end up going too intrusive. They're little round sandwich sheets. To be fair, I thought all these were cutting discs. Okay, well I should probably learn how they get used. Why not, you tool? So how does that stick on there then? Because there's nothing to hold that on. Oh, has that got a sticky bit on? think it's got a sticky back plastic on it. It has. Sneaky little bastards. Well, we'll try that one then, shall we? The flat sanding disc is what I would have wanted, so whether it will work right or not, I guess we shall find out. Helps if my extension lead's plugged in, dig out. Let's see how this goes then. Comes up. Kicks up more dust than I was expecting it to. Cockles might be a good idea at all. Now as a sander it's working, I'm just not sure if it's gonna, I'm not sure if I'm gonna have the control to do exactly what I want. Managed to warm the glue up a little bit there. I would much rather be able to just knock it all off. That'll only work if I don't cause any damage. Itchy doors. Of the two has worked a bit. Heating up the glue. Let's try. This might end terribly. Also, why not? Now that needs the sanding. Oh shit. Okay. Now I can feel myself getting hit with little bits of wood. And then it would appear that the sanding sheet went, and I've melted fuck out of the holy shit. Now I heard someone go boom. I'm guessing that was the sanding sheet or disc. But, well, that's long fucking gone. Okay. Well, that's going to need a change of tactic then. Clearly it was too much work for it. And we're still not cleared off of all of the excess wood. Now you may be wondering why I'm not using a chisel for this. I don't have one. And also, I'm not wanting to chisel the wood out as such. A chisel may dig in more than I would want it to. Whereas all I'm trying to do is break off the wood that's glued on. Using a carving knife might not be a bad idea, but we'll see about that. Now, I don't believe that I'm down to the wood of the main piece yet. This is going to be more awkward than I thought it would be. Right, then what we should do is in a minute I'm going to take a break. And then when I come back, we'll have thought about how we're really going to clean these up. Now that we've given it a try, we can have a little bit of a think and see if there's a better way we can think of doing it. Not a lot on this one, but there's enough. Bouton. Yeah, there's still a lot more left on this end. I might be able to do it like this, but see if we can get a bit more off. Things I can see that it is parts of the previous piece that are there, and I'm not down to the main piece yet. It's not far off. most places, but it's enough that it would fuck up the whole measurements of the table, and that is why I'm going to the effort of sorting it out. There's fucking glue on there. It's a stupid idea, but if it works, it'd be a good idea. Basically just trying to create some splits in the wood. I think it's one of those things where it's what, 1, maybe 2 mil out, but that could have a massive effect on the measurements.